just all of these photos.
I'm like back and forth. I know. I'll just go through and be like, I know I sent this to you.
Yeah, I know. I'll be like, I know I sent this to you. Like, it's in here somewhere. And a lot of times I just, like, go through our photos. And I'm like, that's why I don't delete my threads.
Yeah,
like
same.
Because, like, then I lose the photo or any, like, links. Like, we even have, like, our collaboration for all of our, like, notes. And like, where you at, girl? Oh, you're here.
Oh, really? I was like,
Yes, I tracked my girl.
Yep.
She got my location. I got hers.
There's just times where I was like, oh, where Kara's at? And I'm looking like, oh, she home.
Yeah.
Where else is she going to be?
Sometimes I'm like, is Christina in the office? And like, I won't even ask you. I'll just look at your location. I'm like, yeah, she's at the office.
Who the hell would be?
Well, I'm Kara.
Oh, I'm Chris.
And we're the Midnight Babes.
Boop, boop.
Wanted to hit Blackwood Institute series before we go.
It's like fresh in our minds.
Fresh-ish.
Fresh-ish.
I read this one like 3 months ago.
True. Well, I feel like that's like freshest for like how
far behind you are. Yeah. But this is J. Rose. I want to start off by saying, read the trigger warnings.
Oh my God, yes.
If you are not in a safe mental space, this is not a good book to read.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you've dealt with mental health issues and you're in an okay spot, I think that that's fine.
Yeah.
However, I think that there is a lot of, like, self-reflection to be made before reading this book after reading the trigger warnings.
Yep.
So I guess we'll dive in.
It's a hard hitting one for sure.
I mean, like, every emotion came out during each one of the books, each 3 of the books in the series, and then emotions I didn't know I have came out, and I was like, oh my God. And there are a few reasons that I love this. I'd never read a reverse harem book yet.
Oh yeah,
or like a she's not gonna choose. I've never read one of those.
a YN choose. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's crazy. But for the whole books to be set within a psych ward, is hard. As a reader, you're like, okay, she's really immersed you in that space. She's built the space really well.
Yeah.
The things that the main character Brooke is like hearing and talking about at like the first place she's being held. If you've ever had a grippy sock vacation, you're like, J. Rose has got this shit on lock, because I've had a grippy socks day or two, and like in my younger years as a teen, and I was like, wow, that sounds a lot like what I heard and like felt, right? Like being in there. Granted, I was not in the place Brooke was.
But like criminally.
Yeah, so she's originally at like a regular psych hospital, and then they move her to a hospital for the criminally insane.
Yeah, and it's like a new project.
Yes, they're like trying to help reform people, and like it's new agey.
Yeah,
it's like new agey.
But doesn't she say like she walks up and it's like, of course, multiple buildings and one of the other doors, and then it's more of like a gothic
style like mansions instead of like a hospital. It's not like, how do I want to?
It's like she was saying like she hated like the decor and stuff because it's so like fancy.
Yeah,
it was like the art.
It was like too fancy for her. Yeah, and it's like, girl, well, like if I'm gonna be staying somewhere against my will, like
have it look nice and shit.
Like, yeah, I mean, but yeah. So the books are Twisted Heathens, Sacrificial Sinners, and Desecrated Saints. But if you buy the Blackwood Institute series, or like get it on Kindle, it's all in one. Yeah, which is really nice.
I know. I would keep looking because I read it on Kindle. And I know you did too, and then you ended up purchasing it.
I did.
But on Kindle,
I loved it that much.
Yeah, I need to. On Kindle, I was like, I keep track of my percentage, and I'm like, Jesus, like I've barely
made movement on this book.
I'm like,
it's so big,
and it's hard to keep track. Like, I love it, but I hate it because it's hard to keep track of like where I'm at in the first book.
Yes,
I wish it would break it up. in that way.
Yeah. Like,
so I know how far I am in the first book compared to like
on your percentages.
all of it. Yeah.
Because I ended up going like, okay, well, if it's 3 books, I ended up actually getting on Goodreads and seeing how many pages each book was.
Oh.
And then I divided by the total pages and I took the average and I was like, so around 35% I should be moving to the next book.
See, that would be smart.
I was also getting pissed because I'm clicking my Kindle like 7 times and it's not changed one goddamn percentage. And I'm like, I'm reading, okay?
True. Yeah. Okay.
I've made my sizing smaller and I'm still reading and it's not changing.
Nothing's happening.
So yeah, I would have liked that also, but I just had to kind of like break it down mathematically, and then I was like, okay. By the 3rd book though, like so much was happening, I had like stopped paying attention to that. Like even I think like halfway through the 2nd book, I was like, I don't care where I'm at. I just need to keep going.
Halfway through the 1st book, I fucking gave up because I got so immersed.
She really,
Jesus,
she does a great job at getting you sucked in from the beginning. Like there is no character build and then here we are. It's like you're here.
And then you just
I'm also
learn.
You're gonna go along and I'm gonna like tell you why we're here. So Brooke, didn't she like stab somebody?
Her
ex. Okay, that's what I thought. So she stabbed her ex, so that's why she's in there. Everybody's in there for different reasons. So you've got the first person she meets is Cade, who is like this nice like looking guy who's like, why is he here? He's at like reception. He's often doing like intake and like helps get settled their rooms, and he's super sweet, and she's like, fuck you, leave me alone.
Oh yeah, because like she's already at the point
she's
right
at the point
off the bat.
She's checked out. She's done with life.
Well yeah, she's like completely done. She's like, she has a goal. She's going to
end
her life in like the
suicide.
next month.
Yes.
Because that's like the anniversary of when everything happened.
And that is her only goal.
Yeah.
Her goal is not to get better, and this is why I was like, if you're not in a good space, you cannot be reading.
There was like, no getting better in this series.
There's not.
They come together and they act as like a family.
Support each other.
Yeah, and like they obviously don't want her to die, and like some shit goes on, like a lot of shit goes on, but they want her to live. Yes. And she eventually comes to the fact like she does want to live, but
that's like the 3rd book.
Yeah, it does not actually happen until the 3rd book.
And there's a lot of really sad shit that happens in between that like not only she deals with, but like everybody else in the group.
Get the POVs of everybody.
Yeah, so like you get Cade's POV, you get Brooke's POV, and then Hudson is another character, and that is Cade's brother.
Cade's half brother.
Yes, and then we find out through the book that
half
Hudson,
brother, stepbrother. He's adopted.
Yeah, he's adopted, but he calls him his brother.
Yeah, like I just like dawned on me. I was like, wait.
But
a
yeah, you're right.
Brother.
He is adopted. And Brooke and Hudson used to have a relationship. So you're
at
like,
the orphanage.
You're like,
when?
What? And like Brooke blames Hudson for like, all of her problems. Yeah, and he's kind of like, the fuck.
He knows he did
he
wrong.
Knows he fucked up, but he's like, this is like not
but also,
all my issues. Like you off your rocker, girl. You're schizo as well. Like you need to take your meds.
Literally.
Hudson's got his own issues.
He has his anger issues.
He's got real anger problems. Eli, I think is like my favorite. Yeah, I'm a whore for Eli, dude. Like, bro, don't talk.
No,
he knows.
He has synesthesia.
Yeah, which is synesthesia, which it means people can often see or like taste colors or feelings. And I was like, that's a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
And that really fucking bothers Eli. Like, and it's very clear with like his point of view. He's like, things are getting like confrontational. And like all I can
goes in on himself.
Yeah, and he like curls within himself, and you're kind of like, oh, poor Eli.
Yeah.
Like, and he's a cutter.
Yeah.
So like again, if you're not in a great spot, and I just don't think that's a great book.
Yeah.
Like so that's a big thing for him. And Brooke's also like,
she's a cutter.
And like just for like feeling, as like I feel like most people who have cut, not, and it not always is in the intention of like I want to end my life, but I want to feel something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I had a stint there for a little bit of that when I was way younger, and it definitely was all about the.
I want to feel something, or like I feel so like sad or like angry, and I don't know how else to express it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how else to like get it out of me. And like my like 13-year-old brain was like, this is the way.
Yep.
Why? I don't know. So like those are issues that are in the book, but they're real life issues, which is why the book hits so fucking hard. I think like and it's heavy. It's a heavy book. So you got Brooke, Cade, Hudson, Eli, and then you got Phoenix or Nix, and he is a drug addict, and he's the one with the blue hair.
Blue hair.
Drug addict.
Yeah.
He's a character. I really like Nix too. Like Nix and Eli are my favorite, and like when Brooke gets there, Nix and Eli are already like in a relationship almost.
They do pretty much everything together, but they never crossed the line of actually getting together. They would do things with other people, but they were never together until Brooke showed up, and they kind of were able to get past that.
Yeah, so
which is so cute.
It is. So like it was like it's a heavy book, but then you have these moments within it. Like
that bring them happiness
and joy, and it brings you happiness and joy. And then you're like, okay, well, what's next, right? Like, who's going off their rocker this time? Because then they have, like, what they call the basement, the Z-Wing.
The Z-Wing.
Yeah, so, like, the Z-Wing is, like, if you're bad, and, like, it's essentially...
That's where, like, they're like, the therapists and psychiatrists that are wanting to experiment more.
Yeah, so it's, like... Regular patients have their therapy upstairs like once a week. It's no big deal. If you're like a troublemaker, like you could be put down here in a straitjacket in a cell, and then you have to see your therapist down there, and you have to like kind of it's like
it's solitary.
Yeah, it's like solitary essentially for like criminally insane.
Yeah.
And Brooke gets sent down there, and like, dude, she gets drugged. Like, there's a lot that goes on down there, and like, we can't even cover this whole fucking like. There's so much that happens, like between Brooke being saved by the boys.
Yep.
Brooke saving each of the boys in her own way.
And then finding out what actually the
is
fuck
going
is happening
on in the Z-Wing.
Well, just like in the facility, this institute in general, because there's multiple institutes. They're just in this one.
One is they're in Blackwood.
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting because they start to catch on that there is a conspiracy. Something is going on in the Z-Wing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this little like group of misfits like gets. I think it's in the second book. It's the whole fucking psych ward to like lose their shit after they bring in like the new guards and everything.
So what caught me on this is, and what made me think it was in the first book, is like what made me realize what the fuck is happening is because one of the psychiatrists or whatever was talking about the prison experiment that has actually happened and how that played out. And once that was brought up, I'm like, oh, I fucking know what's going on now for this ward. It's essentially like the prison experiment, except they're using the criminally insane, and they're trying to be like, no, we're going to make you worse because, it's not even better.
It's worse. We're going to make you to like a war machine.
Yeah, like a super fucking soldier, because they're doing experiments on some of these patients that they said they will never recover.
Never recover.
They will never be able to go back out into society.
And they could have before they got stuck in the Z-Wing, which I think is important to call out. Like, we're going to mash through these books here. Like, we aren't even going to go into, like, specific fucking scenes. Like, there are some sexy fucking scenes, too. Like,
reverse harem. Like, she is literally
with I mean,
she is with all of them. Let's just say that. All of them.
I mean, Rio gets pushed off the roof after he tells her to commit suicide, and she's like about to jump.
Rio doesn't do, like, Hudson's the one that throws him over.
Pushes him. But he was in on it. I mean, there's a big conspiracy going on. So once they figure it out with like the doctors and the therapists, they break into the Z-Wing. Brooke's stuck in there. She's getting fucking tortured, dude. Yeah. She meets Seven. in there.
And we find out was what fucking supposed to be a doctor, like a nurse or whatever.
He was like a therapist.
Yeah, therapist. Yeah,
because that's who the other therapist has been looking for her brother like this whole time, and he's been down in fucking Z-Wing, can't talk.
Dude,
he's like a monster at this point. He's
no
literally
longer,
a killing machine.
Yeah, he's no longer Jude. He is 7.
Yes, and like that is this doctor's goal.
Yeah.
Is he like even takes Brooke and 7 out on experiments and like is like, you need to kill this person.
That was like the whole fucking point.
And you're like,
they're just
so
killers.
fucked up, dude. Like they're already struggling so hard.
And she gets so torn up about it because it's like she has to split herself and to not feel anything.
And
but then
like,
she goes back and she finally gets back with the boys.
Well, it's like you started off not feeling anything, and then we got you to get feelings, which we thought were really good things, and then this has happened, and you have to like disassociate again, and like we have just all the way backwards.
All the way back. And I think one of the things before any of that happens is like when she's starting to really get to know the boys and whatnot, but she still has the plan of killing herself before the anniversary. So like we find out more about like what happened, like she killed her ex, but it's also because she is schizophrenic, things like that. And
she hears voices. She
telling
hears her brother.
Yeah, like just hearing fucking everything. Kills, goes back in, blah blah blah. So she finally, something happened where she got so bad, and she grabbed the razors, and she was literally in her room, and she was she cuts herself, like she is.
She is bleeding.
But then
bleeding out.
Nyx is like, where the fuck is Brooke? Goes in, finds her, and so after that point, like
all
Nyx,
the boys sew her up.
Yeah, well, no, Nyx sews her up, and then all the boys come in, but Nyx holds this grudge against her and is like, "Fuck you! You don't want yourself. Like, you don't love us.
You don't care about us.
Nothing.
If like you're not even gonna think about us." Which like
he had such a grudge.
I know, and like I get it.
It ruined him.
I get it though, and like to see him come over that at the end, like, dude, the way the books were built was phenomenal. Like I cannot. The emotional roller coaster I lived on for those days was insane. Like, again, I read it on KU, and then I immediately finished, and I went to Amazon, and I bought the physical copy because I was like, that is something I will read again.
Yeah.
And like, it was
I couldn't read
really
anything
good.
after it for a while.
I had to take like a good week. Break because
all I was doing was thinking about it, and
it took a lot of like. It takes a lot of like mental like load to read that book, even though it's fiction. It is.
You get so immersed into it.
Yes.
Like you know these people, and like you can feel their hurt.
And if you've ever dealt with like any sort of depression, which like who hasn't at this point?
To an extent,
yeah. Like you are gonna be able to relate, and I think if you have empathy and you're able to put yourself in these characters' shoes, that's what like really makes it like heavy hitting.
Yeah.
Like really heavy. But again, like have these fun scenes in between, lighting it up like movie night and shit. And
well, then just seeing them like really embracing her and being like, she is our world now, pretty much, because like no one else really came in and like rocked their world. Like she did. She came in and changed all of their lives. Yeah, she just came in and was like, fucking whatever. Like I guess
I just trying to die.
Yeah, and that's like Cade is all. It's all because Cade was like, no, I'm gonna help you. I'm like, there's something about you. I'm gonna help you, and so he's the one that brought her into his family.
And I kept thinking like her and Cade would end up together until I read it was like she's not gonna choose. Yeah, and I was like, oh.
But I love how
I was like, okay.
Cade was the last because she felt
first to meet,
so
last to hook up with. But there's so much. I feel like there's a lot of depth between her and Cade.
Oh yes, and I think that's I think she was saying in the book it's probably like why she was kind of waiting about it, because she had little things and connections with everybody else, but with Cade she's like, I don't want to fucking ruin anything.
Ruin it, yeah.
Because you are like the protector. You are there, and
it was good.
And the fact that she was always going back and forth with fucking Hudson, trying to kill him.
Trying to kill him or love him. She don't know, dude.
And then they finally, like, I guess, hashed it out in a way. And, he apologized, which took a lot of effort on his part. And then she's like,
if you know his character, it's apologize.
It was a lot. It was a lot. And then, but Phoenix, like, Nyx was always there. And then she found Eli in the graveyard, like
yeah,
outside of the
he
fence.
liked to go there.
That was his place, and then found that he was cutting, and so she did it, and then they both ended up.
Yeah.
I think the second book, they got they carved into each other. What was it, Latin?
But like, okay, how fucked up of it is of me though that like she catches him cutting himself, and she's like watching, and then he's like. I mean, he doesn't say, "Oh no," but like, "Oh no" would be like the look
like,
he's
pause.
giving, like I've got caught. And she comes over and doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything, and she's like, "Will you do me?"
Yeah, and he's like,
like, and she's like, like my hands are too shaky from my meds. Like, can you do me?
And then he cuts her.
Yeah, then but like they talk about how there's like this unspoken yes between them. And like, so yes, and he cuts her, and then they end up like getting freaky, and I was like, why is this romantic?
I know!
I was like, that is the sweetest shit I've ever heard.
And like,
it shouldn't be. It is fucked, but it was sweet.
Yeah, it's like, because it's their type of connection. And that's the thing, you will feel that so much in these books. Like, this is so fucked up, but why is it so sweet?
And each different like guy, they have like, she has a different connection with each of them. Yeah. Like, and they each have different issues, so it's very fucking different for each person.
Yeah.
I just have a space in my heart for Eli.
Oh yeah.
Eli and Phoenix, dude.
Because like Eli really like works on himself because he wants her to hear him.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, and then the whole like you said, the dynamic between Nyx and Eli finally getting together.
Dude,
like
they love each other, and it was like they weren't hooking up, and then Brooke comes in and she's like, "No, you can love who you want.
Like, we'll do stuff together while I'm here, but like you guys can do things
play
together
while I'm gone." And they were like,
"We've never done that,
but we should."
And then they do.
Yeah, movie night was my favorite.
That
was so fun. I was like,
"Yeah,
girl, you get it. You get it. Movie night tonight. Don't let them guards see your ass though." And then I was looking at like her other books, and I want to read the Sabra.
Oh, the Saber.
Saber Security.
Yeah.
Corpse Roads.
Mm-hmm.
In therapy, they tell you to use your senses. Like, J. Rose, did you used to be in therapy? Are you a therapist? Like,
why? How do you know all of this?
Because well, it's like not even how do you know all of it, but how do you write it so well that I'm like taken back to like
your
14 years old. Like, how did you do that? And like,
yeah.
I've always said if like a movie or a book can like bring emotion out of me, whether it's like happiness, sadness, anger, like I don't care what kind of emotion, but if you're able to give me an emotion, I think you've done your job as an artist. But for her to give me like every single fucking emotion listed in the book, and then some that I like was like, can I even put a name to that emotion?
Yes.
No, I sure can't. Fabulous.
Yep.
So now I'm over here like, I want to read Corpse Roads by her.
Yeah.
So
the whole, because the Saber Security is a trilogy as well.
Yeah, she seems to be really into the trilogies or series,
which I'm happy for, because you know Saber Security comes in at the last book, and oh man.
Yep.
Like, you get to learn more about those guys, and then how it kind of plays into the rest of it. Like, that really got me. And I was like, oh my God.
Yes, I know. So I'm like, I kind of want to read, like, all of her books.
Yeah.
Like, do they tie in at all? Departed Whispers. Ooh, Forbidden Magic.
Ooh.
Haunted by an evil force that loves to play sick mind games. Oh, Reverse Harem. Paranormal romance. All right.
Is it another why you choose? Because I love those. Just get all of them, girl. You know?
Oh, Supernatural. Witches.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, damn. She got all the tags on
all
here.
The tags.
We like it, though. We like it. But yeah, so I'm like, I was really impressed. I had not heard of J. Rose.
No, me neither. Because wasn't Kristen recommended this one to us?
Yeah, our coworker recommended the series to us, and I don't even think she had read it yet. I don't think she's read it yet. I think she just was like, I saw this on my TikTok and wanted to add it to the list. And I was like, I'm going to read it. And
I could not put it down.
I was really glad I did, because she also suggested...
There's a few of them in there.
Yeah, she suggested, because I read it. and it was like paranormal smut.
Right.
Oh, it was Death's Obsession.
That's what I need to read too.
And it's like paranormal dark smut. And I was like, is this bitch crazy? Or is she fucking a ghost?
Is it Sibby? Is it Sibby?
It gives you like that kind of vibe, but like not crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, like I don't know why. Like the whole hearing that was paranormal made me think of Death's Obsession being paranormal romance. I'm like, I really dug that. So J Rose,
bravo.
round of a fucking applause.
Yeah.
Snaps all of it. Dude, it was amazing.
Rereading it, because I feel like if I read it again, I'm gonna catch
way more. Yep, I agree.
It's gonna be it was so good, y'all.
It'll be like a spring read for me.
Yeah.
Maybe like getting into summer, because I have a little bit of depression in the winter.
Oh, so yeah.
Maybe not a book I should be reading in the winter.
It's when you're coming out of that seasonal depression, going into your normal summer
depression. Yeah, then I'm like, okay, we're ready.
Different types.
I just really suggest like really taking her trigger warnings into
heart, for sure.
Heart, take them into account, and like self-reflect. Like, I'm not saying like you can't read this book.
Oh yeah, no.
But like self-reflect on where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
I read the trigger warnings and I took a moment to be like, am I okay right now to read this book? And I was in a great spot. I was like, yeah, I'm fine to read this book. Did it bring up thoughts, feelings, memories? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So like, also if you've, had a grippy sock staycation, be aware that it may trigger some memories. And if you don't want those memories triggered, maybe this is not the time to read the book.
And but also know, this is fiction.
It's fiction, but the way it is written is so you are there.
Yeah.
You are in it. I cried. Like, I've not cried reading a book like in a long time like these.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost like at least twice in every book I was probably crying.
Yeah, because you would text me and
I'd be like, I'm crying, and now I'm laughing.
Yeah, it's like I didn't cry.
And I did. I was
but
like
I
a
feel
readathon.
Like you have like more because of your past experience. I have not had that. Now I've had some of them as far as like the mental health issues and whatnot. And so like I could definitely relate, but it didn't trigger me or put me into it. Now I will say, like, you've told me, you're like, you should read the trigger warnings, like, kind of give me a heads up, and I didn't. I just went right into it. I'm like, no, I'm really bad about that.
Read your trigger warnings.
Yeah, so don't, do what I say, not what I do.
Don't listen to her.
Read your trigger warnings. There are times where it's like, yes, I will go through and read them, but I think I was so excited to read them. I just hopped right in.
At that point, you knew what it was about.
Yeah.
Because I had already given you
enough
information that I think you were like, okay, I don't gotta sit here.
I just kind of hopped right in it because I was like, I've never had that type of experience. I've had, of course, like I said, the mental health stuff, but it's been. For me, I haven't read a book that's really taken me over the edge in that way. Because I'm good about knowing, this is fiction.
Yeah.
This is how it is. Obviously, I agree with you. If it can take emotion out of you in any way, it's a good fucking book.
Mm-hmm.
And this trilogy really was. It had me going, right? It was great. But it was definitely... I was expecting to cry. I was waiting for it, but I think I was just too immersed in the book
to be I gotta keep going. I'm not sitting with these emotions right now. You're I'm moving.
That is one thing that I don't like about myself, is I'm like that. There's only been a few books where I did, it shocked me so much. When we were talking about The Exorcist House, things like that,
Yeah.
It shocked me enough.
That you were
I was like, what the fuck? But also... we already knew the story. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that was...
The part you were talking about.
Yes. Yeah. So, we already had that lead up, whereas with Blackwood, it was just so much.
It was... And it did not let up, dude. No. I mean, you're like, oh, they're going to get a break. Yeah, they get a break to fuck, and then they don't get a break. That's it. Life's going to hit them in the face again.
Yep. I couldn't...
I gave it a 5 out of 5.
100%. 5
out of 5.
For the entire, for all the
all 3 books.
Yes.
Third was my favorite by far.
Ooh, yeah.
If I had to say in order, it would be 3, 1, 2. third, first, second. But like, it's also hard to tell when you just fucking sit there and read them as one long ass story.
I think that's my issue because like I just read it in a fucking.
The third is when like zooing pops off, and then they're like, "Let's out of
here." Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I like the second one too because the second was when like the new guards and like Charge comes in and everybody. They were all great. They were all like.
When the new guards came in, I was getting pissed.
They were assholes. That's why when they all like rioted together,
I loved it.
I was like, get these guards. Take them down.
God. Yeah, I don't know. I just overall.
It was great. It was great. 5 stars.
5 stars all the way around. It was so fucking good. Well, oh fuck, it's gonna be a busy fall, but we're having getting ready for October for our nice spooky month.
Yeah.
So I mean, every month is spooky month for us. But October specifically, so we have a lot to do before then.
Yes.
And we're gonna have a great October month coming up. So I mean, it's a couple months away, but I'm excited. Code Orange is already out.
Code Orange.
Code Orange. The stores are already having Code Orange, and my pockets are gonna hurt because some good shit came out that I need for my house decor.
I need decor. Let's go shopping.
Yup. My husband's already redoing the bathroom. He got like privacy film, and he's getting all this stuff. So he wants to kind of redo all that, all very naturey. And then I'm over here like, I have to go to Michael's. I have to go to At Home. I have to go to Joann's. I have to go get all this other shit for downstairs.
All the things.
So sorry.
I don't know what this is, but it's a thing.
Don't know.
We'll be back with, you'll see us again.
We have a lot.
And then we still have got to do like Butcher and Blackbird, by Bryn Weaver, and then Leather and Lark the second. We still got to do Souls trilogy, the Mindfuck series. Like, mind you, we've read these. We just haven't really like reviewed them.
God, it's
the horror, the suffering, Maggie's grave.
By the time we're able to record, a lot of the books that we have read are older.
I know.
And like, all the things that people are talking about, it's like we don't have time to record and like for me to edit and put it out when it's like relevant. So if you're new here, hi.
That's what happens.
It is what it is.
We do try to hit relevant and like popular books, but by the time we get them recorded, it may be like 3 months ago you saw it on your TikTok.
Yeah.
And like, well, here we are. We're covering it.
It's here. We have the review. We have it covered. It's just gonna be a couple months. But by the time you
but not always.
Not always.
This is just this is our first year doing this.
Yeah.
Like, we're still in like our first like 7 months of doing this.
No, it's been longer now. We started this last year.
We started in September. Okay, so we are coming up on a year. We're still getting into our groove. And this summer is wild.
It's
like, I'm getting married in October. Yeah. We've got bachelorette parties in August. We've got conventions in August. So we are over here just trying to like we've read a shit ton, but now we're over here trying to like
scramble to like
get
find
these episodes
time to
out.
Record.
Yes. So we'll make sure to do that for you guys.
It's a plus though. I mean, because by the time you read or watch and you want to enjoy it and you want to look at a review, you're
like, oh, I've read it already, and it's a spoiler review, so like I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So whenever we do pop up on your feed, you've probably already read it and seen it, and you're like, oh hey, yeah,
or
that
if
one.
You haven't,
come
back to it. Or listen and just know that there are spoilers.
But I do like to cover. I really want to. I just lost my train of thought. Hold on, blank.
You really want to cover?
Oh, so like the older stuff that I know you haven't watched, like House of a Thousand Corpses.
Those are on our list.
Early 2000 stuff that I know that she hasn't seen.
Yeah,
and
like Devil's Rejects, like Tale of Two Sisters. Like there's a few things like Nightmare on Elm Street, like Dawn of the Dead. Like there are a few things I've never seen. So like my horror queen gonna help me.
We're gonna get it done, and like a lot of people have already seen those, and those would just be nice little fillers, and it'll make you want to go back and watch them.
Yeah, I hope so.
Those are on my must-watch for October.
Yes,
they have to be.
They're
so good. I fucking love Rob Zombie in general, so I love it.
I know you do.
There's only a few where I was like, like Lords of Salem.
Meh.
Okay.
It
wasn't my favorite.
All right.
So I'm not going to force you to watch that one. 31 was
if
okay.
If it's not your favorite, please don't make me watch
Yeah,
it.
no. Like 31 was okay as well, but like one of the chicks in 31 is the voice of Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls, I think.
Really?
Yeah, her voice.
That's
I
funny.
want to say it was Bubbles, like Powerpuff Girls. I'll look back into that one. But you know who I'm talking about. I know that you have her voice going through your brain if you know who I'm talking about.
You know what got me is when you posted in the ARC group for Genesis House, and you were like, every time I caught an Easter egg, and you were like, I was doing that Leo DiCaprio meme of him like pointing at the TV, and I just come right in and I find the fucking GIF, and I'm like, I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Once upon a time in Hollywood, you know, where he's at the TV. Me every time. Anytime I like something like that happens and pops up with Easter eggs, I'm like, that's exactly what I like do.
But it was hysterical. You're like, you guys know what GIF I'm talking about. I was like, I know exactly.
I knew you would.
Like, I knew that one. Here's your brain cell back.
Thanks. I was like, I couldn't think of like finding it already, and I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking type it.
You guys know what I'm talking about. I was like, I know.
Yeah,
I got you. Anyways, you can catch this podcast anywhere you absorb your podcast. With your ear holes.
With your ear holes, and of course YouTube.
You can absorb with your ear holes and eye holes.
And eye holes! I do post this as a video on Spotify as well. It's just a lot of the other places don't do that, so it's just the audio.
Spotify and YouTube will show video. Everything else is audio.
Yep, it's audio. But, you know, I was updating our Goodreads Instagram, and then I kind of stopped because I forgot. So
that should be on my to-do list.
Yeah, you should do that.
Because I'm the organization.
I completely forget. But we've had so much we have to add.
I know. Well, I have something to do later.
Yeah, you got time.
I got time.
Go through what we have. Yeah. So we'll see you when we come back.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to see more from us, you can find us on Instagram at the Midnight Babes Podcast and on TikTok at the Midnight Babes. Stay spooky, friends.